I think that's awesome. And you know, a lot of the compliments I think would come from fellow female competitors, because I think after Jake Wood bought the Olympia, the return of women's bodybuilding, now obviously your women's physique, but there's a resurgence, a renaissance with muscular women, the athleticism, the competition. There's shows now where women's bodybuilder competitors are showing up, and not just one, because, you know, last few years, you know, if there is women's bodybuilders, like one girl, and she doesn't even look like a women's bodybuilder, but now there's a lot more of that. And Anastasia Ryder, who just won in Orlando, and she looks phenomenal. She's from Tampa, and I think she likes your stuff. And I don't know if you guys follow each other, but you know, I see a lot of her and you, and vice versa, because you know, you really, condition is so important, and the you guys both have it, and honestly, like, there is no drug really that will do that. It's just dieting. You know what I mean? Like it just is what it is. You know, and you guys. I think you guys don't mind suffering. I mean, you probably do mind, but you do it.
I mean, you know, the old adage goes, I mean, like, I'm up every day at 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Good Lord.
I time job. We have kids, you know, I'm working by 6:30 or so. I got to get up, and I'm either lifting or doing cardio at 5 a.m. You know, and then doing the other one afterward, you know. And I make a choice to do it, and you know, the reality is, I mean, if you watch, it's just that whole, you got to get up and do the work. If you're not going to do the work, you know, you could do whatever you want, you're just not going to come in.
Definitely.
But if you sacrifice and go through the pain and the work and, you know, the grind, I mean, you're going to get there eventually. You know, it takes time. You know, it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, with COVID and everything else, I mean, I think we're 30 weeks,
right?
Yeah.
Just know what shows we could do. No. You know, we've just been grinding it out for the last little while.
Just keep going until they say no, and then look for else. You know?
And that's the thing too with Gary too. I mean, you know, whether it's, you know, in a tent or wherever it's going to be, but it's going to be in a tent, and you know, they moved the host hotel to the Wyndham, which is in my opinion, a much better hotel. You're right in downtown Pittsburgh, which is great, and you know, it's going to be under a massive tent, fans everywhere. And like Gary said, they're not just going to meet the CDC guidelines, they're going to surpass them. So it's like, there's no doubt this is happening, and it's going to be great. But with regards to you guys, like Glenn said, it is all about the hard work, you know, and you guys have been at this since 2008. I mean, this is like something, you know, that you guys have your eyes on the prize. And yeah, I got to really hammer that in there, 2008, because, you know, there's competitors that, you know, no offense to them, you know, because I'm on the media side, but they'll walk around, you know, with their, you know, their head kind of, you know, sunk down, and like, I'm never going to get a pro card. I'm like, well, when did you start competing? You're like, oh, 2019. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You haven't even been competing a year. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, so again, guys, you've been at this for a long time. And tell us about coaches. Do you guys self-prep, or do you guys each have your own coach, or how does that work?
He's my coach.
Yeah.
So there's no cheating. I can't do anything. He's right there breathing down my neck.
So how do you so as the husband, obviously very supportive, very loving, but as the coach, I'm sure there's times where you got to like flip the switch, and maybe not with Gaby, you know, Gaby, because she's such a hard worker. I know she never cheats.
No. You have to. And here's the key that I found that actually works is, you know, and Gaby kind of taught me this one as a kind of a sandwich thing, but I have to essentially like go, all right, this is coach. And you're getting a lot of smiles out of me right now, but I'm typically pretty emotionless when it comes to, you know, detail stuff. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade, so like, you know, very not emotional. So I'll just boom, hey, this is what's going on, this is what you're doing, this is what the cause and effect's going to be. Lack of better words, pull your head out of your butt and let's just do this. And then afterwards, I'm like, all right, now as your husband,
right,
look, I understand you have emotions and things like that. So, you know, I've been coaching her, I think, since really after the kids, so the past probably, you know, 6 years. You know, she finally decided, yes, I'll give you the trust. You know, started with the Kalamazoo show. She let me coach for that one. She came in good. And then the Grand Rapids, the Western, you know, and she came in better and better each time. And now this is her third national show, you know, coaching her. So she just kept getting better and better and better. And it's just, with a coach, it's, you know, it takes time to learn a body and how they work, how they function. And, you know, it's worked, you know, emotionally and physique wise you know, for the both of us, and you know, we haven't fought. You know, like I said, I'm her biggest fan, so why not be her coach too? Myself, I've always self-prepped. This is my first time ever having a coach. Nate Wolf in Michigan is actually my coach, Wolfpack Nutrition. So it's the first time I've ever worked with anybody. So really happy with how it works.
And
It's kind of the other side, being an athlete versus doing it yourself and having that extra eye. So
yeah, I mean, it sounds like you wear a lot of hats in that house. Your dad, husband, coach. That's a lot of hats. But what was that experience like though for you, Glenn? So like, you know, being that you prep Gaby and that you have prepped yourself all these years, what was it like for you, sort of like letting go and sort of putting all your trust in a coach?
freeing in reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't have to make decisions. I just say, you know, here's my stuff, here's my check-ins. You want to make a change? Okay, just do it. You know, it's not hard to be coached. You just have to say yes. Just don't say no.
It's almost like well, I don't know if I'm like, you know, anger anybody. It was almost like accepting God, almost like in a way. You know, you just gotta, you know, I know that I'm gonna get it for that, but you know what I'm saying. But like, not maybe to that extreme, but you know, with the diet, you know, like and the training and.
You know, everybody has different theories, right? And it's funny because a lot of people thought I'd be so uncoachable because I'm hard-headed, I'm extremely stubborn. You know, we do bodybuilding shows, right? We diet for weeks at a time. You know, it's just one of those things. I'm stubborn, and the reality is, I just said, if I'm going to pay somebody or work with somebody, I'm going to do what they tell me to do. Just do it. And if they mess up, you know, the adage goes, you know, athletes win, coaches lose.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and that's great, and I think there's so much truth in that. And you know, as a coach yourself, you know, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, if you're gonna give the coach the benefit of the doubt, pay the coach, you might as well listen to everything they say, be honest with them, you know, follow up with them, and then and it sounds like you have a great coach. It sounds like you're happy with where you are. You look great. So I mean, it you know, the proof's in the pudding, as they say. Going to the NPC North American Championship, so knowing that you're up against, you know, the best in America and Canada and Mexico, and these Canadian athletes, like, no joke. I mean, like, I don't know what they're putting in the water. Seriously, they look insane. You know what I mean?
maple syrup.
So I don't know like what it is. I don't know if you cross the bridge and you go to Windsor and it's like, wow, you know, like, but no, but what would it mean though, for you guys to get this pro card? This is a question that, you know, gets asked, you know, pretty much of every competitor. It's like one of the canned questions, but it really is an important question because everybody does something or wants to do something different with the card.
You want me to answer? You want to answer?
You can answer first and then I'll go.
I'll answer because I have interesting views on bodybuilding. I could care less about a card replacing. The reality is the goal for me is always just to come in better than I ever have. So the reality is every day I wake up and I look better than I did yesterday, I've already won. And when I set goals, I set them based on things that I can control. I can't control who's going to show up.
Right.
I can't control what somebody else looks like. I can control my conditioning. I can control how hard I work. I can control how I look, but I can't control what the judges want that day, how I compare to the people that show up that day. I can't control that. That's all subjective. So my goal is to get a picture where I look better than I've ever looked. You know, if I come in, you know, top 5, top 10, second call outs, whatever it might be, you know, for me, that's a huge win. I wasn't even planning on doing a national show. You know, I told Gaby that I would do one with her. And she called me out on it. So, you know, okay.
Right.
Feel like I'm conditioned enough to do it. So, you know, hey, let's see how I place. As far as getting a pro card, you know, the reality to me is what's between prepping for a state, local level show and a pro show. Doing the same thing. You're just competing against different people. So, I mean, at some point, it would just be doing the exact same thing, but competing in a different show.
Absolutely. You know, and again, it really, and Gaby, I want you to answer, please, but just to interject quickly. Yeah, you really hit the nail right in the head also, again, because it is a subjective sport. That term gets thrown around a lot, but it really is very accurate. You could place first in front of a panel of judges here. You can go 3 hours. You know, you're going to still be in the top 5, but you might be second, you might be third. Bob Chicarilla always says it's all about apples and oranges. You could be the absolute best apple, but if they're looking for an orange, you're not going to win. So
yeah,
accurate. And that actually was a hard concept for me to grasp, because I was that one. I won my first show. I won my second show. I won my third, fourth. You know, I placed top 5 at my first national show. My second national show, I got second call-outs, and that was a hard pill for me to swallow. So, you know, I took quite a bit of time off, and just, you know, to grow my physique, one, I had to, and to grow myself mentally, it you know, and to realize that that was actually, if you look at every single package I brought, that was my best package, and I should have been happy with it, but I wasn't. I felt defeated. I felt let everybody down, you know. So this go around, I've had a much better mindset. You know, I'm really eager to meet all these fantastic athletes in person, finally, you know, because, and they all look phenomenal. So again, it's not my job to do the judging. It's the judge's job. And it's a hard one because, like, you know, like Glenn said, like you said, these athletes are amazing that are coming in. And I'm just really eager and excited to meet them. If I were to win my pro card, I would be happy with it. I mean, but I'd be happy with just stepping on that stage, you know, especially amongst everything that's going on, you know, not knowing if a show is going to happen. And like with Gary being able to pull it together, you know, to make it happen for these, like that's a win, man.
Yeah.
Like to be able to do it and to say, hey, yeah, I stepped on that stage, you know. So, would I compete later on as a pro? Sure, absolutely, because I just love competing. So
you've got some friends that you'd like to compete with.
I would. I have some professional friends that I really want to step on stage and be alongside them, and you know, have the fun pose down with them, and you know, it would be fun. But you know, my mindset is in a much better place, and no matter what, getting on that stage at North Americans too, I'm grateful. I'm so happy about it. So
I mean, it's an international show, really, right?
it really,
yeah, it really is. It really is. And the that was beautiful, by the way. Like both of you, I like these big national shows. I mean, they almost feel like pro shows to me. Again, you are competing again. There's 3 countries that are there, and it really, and there's a pro show also that's there as well. So it's a pretty big deal, and you guys have, like, you know, the perfect mindset, and you know, it is, you know, the judges do have their work cut out for them, and they know they do, and you know, they take it very, very seriously. And in the NPC, the judges are put through, I'm sure you guys know, test judging, and there's tons of oversight, and they have a very, very sharp eye. And I think the most important thing Gary always says at posing seminars is help us pick you. And that Linda Andrew has also said, you know, the judges can only judge on what they see. So posing is so important. And, you know, what's crazy is that even if, you know, competitors aren't really good at that posing just yet, there's still 2 weeks. I mean, you could really be surprised if, you know, you could really hit that mirror hard the next 2 weeks and actually improve, you know, good 15-20%, and that might make a big difference. You know, I've seen people you know, that were in the second call outs get themselves back into the first call out. I've seen people that have been on the wings get themselves back to the center. So I mean, posing is really, really important. You know, it's really important. And again, like I said, the judges have to work it out for them, but like Glenn said, you know, that's the judge's job. So you guys only focus on being the best you possible, and you know, everything will get sorted out in the end. And the only other thing I wanted to say too, real quick, Gaby, what you said, I think is very, very insightful. And a lot of competitors don't have the, I don't know if it's maturity or the security or I mean, to share, you know, like, you know, you got second call outs and you had to process that. You had to take some time to evaluate things and come back stronger. A lot of competitors that don't have like those strong roots, don't have someone like Glenn supporting them, don't have that unit, that family unit, you'll never see him again, you know? And that's why I think a lot of competitors have a lot more respect for the pros that really pay their dues in the amateurs, as opposed to the pros that had 2 amateur shows and then turn pro. You know what I'm saying? They've never, if you have never been able to process some sort of disappointment in the sport, then, you know, when you do, that may be the last time they ever see you.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you said it right. I had somebody here to support me, to help me through that too. You can use that lesson as a lesson, just as that. It's a teachable moment, you know, and you can use that to either, you know, fuel your fire to go forward, to better yourself, or just say, "Nah, I'm done, you know, I give up." And that's, you know, that's not who I am. But I had to grow. I had to grow, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of where I am.
And if and when you turn pro, and you guys turn pro, like, you know, down the road, there's a lot of seminars in Michigan and throughout. That would be a great story to share with amateur competitors, you know, because they, you know, it's an important lesson. It's a really important lesson, and it's a subjective sport. There's one guy. Last thing I'll say, and I hope you won't mind. I've mentioned him many times over the years. His name is Russell Mania, men's physique competitor. I saw him compete at his first show, and I interviewed him. He was really surprised that I would interview him, because I think he placed like third to last or something like that. But I saw something in him. I saw the structure was there. He had this really, really strong spirit. And we did the interview. And, you know, a year and a half, 2 years later, he got his pro card. He started like moving up the ranks. And now like people like trip over themselves asking him to do photos and ask him to sponsor their company, like rep their company, you know what I mean? And so it really, the placings, like, you know, Glenn also said, I mean, the placings really don't matter. I mean, at least I don't think they do. And it, you know, it's just, you know, you just constantly get better and better. And, you know, in the end, you will be a pro, and you'll do really well.
Yeah. Some people, like you said, it takes 3 shows, you know, and your placings get better every time.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, we have a friend that won his IFBB pro card. He was 70.
Nice.
He competed 40 years, and he finally won when he was 70 years old. Sometimes it takes, you know, whatever many shows, but if you keep showing up a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better every time, you know, it's kind of interest. Eventually, you'll get there. It's just, do you have the time to grind it out? Do you have the willpower and the want and the fire inside? You know, and do you, you know, if you have a setback, have you had? Are you going to use that as your excuse to quit, or is it going to be going to use it as your choice to go harder, go, you know, go bigger, go better?
Definitely, 100%. So I thank you guys so much.